Unless you're a fan of it, that's all you. WWF Raw. Now this is back when I liked wrestling, when wrestling didn't suck like it does today. I mean, you don't have like fags like Brock Lesnar and Triple H and all them fucking annoying wrestlers that people jock the hell out of. This was back when real wrestlers were going at it. When Undertaker wasn't a softie and you had crazy bitches like Luna Vachon and Diesel. And you had Razor Ramon. Anyways, the reason why I like this game, yeah, I know, LJN, lame junk for Nintendo. The reason why I like WrestleMania Raw is because of the super mega moves that you would never see in a wrestling game. Like, Bam Bam Bigelow can do something as similar to Edmund Honda's Street Fighter sumo headbutt. And you can hit the ref in this. That's always fun, beating up someone innocent. That's what I like to do in games, right? Don't you? That's why we play Grand Theft Auto, for fuck's sake. One of the most underrated adventure RPGs that I've ever played in my life. This is an excellent game. When you play it, you won't think so. But if you stick with it through the end, you'll understand that this is actually a good game. You gotta keep an open mind when you play this game, though. Because some things you'll be like, what the fuck? But, you know, the amazing thing is, this is the same cartridge I played when I was 9 years old. I took the Skips video thing off of here, but this is the same copy I rented when I was a kid. So that cartridge holds a near and dear place in my heart. I own this for Sega CD. This has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a video game. Because it's techno-y and has some interesting percussion. The game is pretty substandard, but it's awesome. If you like platformers and a game with simple gameplay mechanics and platforming with a little bit of a kick, you can become a wolf. It's good. I like it. Don't expect a masterpiece, but it's a lot of fun to play. Here's another game that's underrated and made fun of a lot. I love Zardian. Why do I love Zardian so much? Well, it's robots, mechs. They got cool designs, and it has an interesting story. The game was really good. It was misunderstood, though. I liked it anyways. Magic Sword. Once again, Capcom decided to axe the two-player feature that's in most of their fucking two-player games in the arcade. However, graphics and sound is arcade perfect, but now that we got Capcom Classics Collections for PS2 and Xbox, you may want to consider picking one of those up because it has a two-player option. Unless you want to go solo, this is not a bad card to find. I also found it rather rare because it's just not common. It's a popular game for what it's worth. Oh my god, does this game ever piss me off? Brainlord? Jesus Lord have mercy. This game has some of the most intensely frustrating puzzles you'll ever see, and they're tedious as hell. There's one puzzle I can't get past. It says the key to this puzzle is on the control pad. I'm sitting there pressing every motherfucking button and it ain't doing shit. So I don't know, and they don't give you no tips, no hints. It's like, what the fuck? What do you want me to do? I hate you, Brainlord. You were worth the $10, but fuck's sake. Darius Twin. I don't think this game was ever released in the arcade or any other system but the Super Famicom / Super NES. If you like the Darius series, this is definitely worth picking up because it holds true to its gameplay and art style, and you fight big fishies as last bosses. Or end bosses. Level bosses. Level masters. Whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a fuck. Call them a bitch. I don't care. That's what they are, because some of them are hard as shit. They even have one called Demon Sword. It's made by Taito, huh? Well, there's an NES game called Demon Sword, which is in my collection, which will come last. Street Fighter 2. Yeah, every SNES owner owns Street Fighter 2, and if they don't, there's something wrong with them. This is hands down the best 2D fighter ever made. Not the best version, however. When this was released, I rented it, and I remember falling in love with it because it was Street Fighter 2, and it played just like the arcade game. And that made me happy. Of course, Michael, the reviewer of Arcade Guts, Michael V, says this is the problem of the arcade market dying, which I don't agree with. Because who wants to sit there and spend a shitload of quarters on a game where they can just buy and play it at home and save themselves some money, right? Gotta save money nowadays, Michael. Sorry. Ken Griffey Jr. of Major League Baseball. Like I said, I love baseball games on the SNES and NES and even the Genesis. This is a very hard game. There's so many people I know who've played this game, and they all have one common opinion about it. Whore. You'll rip your hair out in frustration because the game is unbelievably cheap, and that's what makes it not so much of a great game. Unless you really like to take a pounding. It's a challenge. We all like challenge once in a while, but fuck me, that's too much challenge in my opinion. We're not even halfway done yet, guys. Got a lot to go. I just grab a few out of the drawer and I show you, and then I grab more. Lufia and the Fortress of Doom. If you don't own this game or have played it, there is something wrong with you. This has an excellent love story behind it, and it has an interesting turn-based game, and it plays a lot like, I want to say, Final Fantasy II USA. So Final Fantasy II, whatever. You know what? We'll say Final Fantasy II, because that's what I know it as. It's Final Fantasy IV, but who cares? But this is an excellent game, and there's also a sequel which I don't own because it's too expensive. And that was brought to the America through Natsume, then this one was brought over by Taito. Excellent RPG, one of the greats, definitely, and one of the most underlooked. There's a new one coming out for the DS, though, and I'm definitely going to be picking that up, because I just finished the one on a Game Boy Advance on the emulator on the Wii, and it was just awesome. If I ever find the card, I'll probably pick it up. NX, do me a favor. If you release the core game and don't release the sequel, don't even bother bringing the core game to the Americas. There is a sequel to this game. It's called something Arc. Mystic Arc. Thank you, Brain. This is a good game. The music's a little compressed, but the gameplay is good, and it's really challenging. But it's a good challenge, not a challenge that you'll get mad at, except at the bosses because they're extremely hard. And when you get into a random encounter, the screen zooms in, pans the camera, and then you fight them on the plane. It's really cool how they did that. It gives the game some flair. I'm a big fan of Pitfall for the Atari 2600, so there's no brainer that I was going to pick up the sequel. This version is amazing. It has good music, great sound, great graphics, and even the original game of the 2600 is included in this. It's also included in the Genesis version, and I believe the Sega CD and Jaguar versions as well. I'm not sure on that. But this is an excellent game, and I was really happy to see Pitfall given a sequel that kicks ass. And make sure you find all the words Pitfall in the game, otherwise you get the worst ending. Another arcade port that actually Capcom got right. It's 2 players, and it plays like a kind of like pre-D&D Tower of Doom. It's not bad. You lack combos though, but nonetheless, it's a fun game to waste an afternoon on. And I play it once in a while because I love their arcade ports. And the SNES, and it was amazing how true to the arcade they were on most of their games. I love this game from youth because my friend Steve and I used to play the shit out of this game. Super Adventure Island by Hudson Soft. The easiest of all the Adventure Island games, but also has one of the best soundtracks thanks to Yuzo Koshiro. He's my favorite composer next to Hitoshi Sakamoto. Koji Kondo sucks because, well, lately, because most of his music is just balls, except Mario Galaxy, of course. Anyways, judgmental on game composers aside, what should I say about D-Force? D-Force is a standard shooter, but the levels are tediously long, and I don't know, this is something about the game I don't like. I will tell you this though, the game you can zoom in and out in real time, on certain stages. So certain stages will be flying high, and then you can zoom in by pressing the R button. It's kind of neat to see that in a 2D based system. But that was one of the main things Super Nintendo was known for, was its 3D-esque capabilities, such as Mode 7 and the like. Okay. And once again, I'm a fan of the Valis series, and it's sad we didn't get 2 unless you owned a TurboGrafx 16 CD, which I do not. This was tame compared to what Valis is known for, but since the game was very playable and it wasn't exactly too challenging, it's fun to own this in your collection if you're a Valis fan. If you like sword slashers and the like, it's worth picking up. However, the Telenet coloration is stuck in Genesis mode. The game lacks so much color, it's disgusting. But the game itself is great. It's worth picking up, definitely. And you'll have a fun time hacking and slashing. And the music is catchy. My favorite home port of MK2. Yeah, some debate that the Saturn version was better, and in some ways you're correct, but this had more sound effects in it than the Saturn version. The Saturn version actually had some of their sound effects cut out. The grainy graphics is the only downfall of Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo, but the gameplay, blood, and everything that made Mortal Kombat 2 on the map in terms of popularity is in this version. Ah, yes, one of my hardest to find titles that I've traveled 50 miles for. And that's not a lie. My mother and I, when I was 15, I called it the Dracula hunt. Because we were hunting for Dracula. And here it is, Dracula X. Found it for $70, and it was worth every penny because I enjoy Castlevania and every bit of the Castlevania classic style gameplay in any format. And this was the last one before Symphony of the Night, which to me feels like Super Metroid with a sword. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I prefer my stage-to-stage Castlevania over the Quest versions any day. There's another interesting game by Hal, whatever. Hal, fuck, I'll just call it Hal. I don't know how you pronounce her name. This is Hyperzone. Now, the thing about this is, look at the cover art. Shows curves, right, and turns. There's no curves or turns to be seen within the game. It's a straight fucking line, and you have to make sure you're in the quote-unquote road. Otherwise, your ship takes damage, and if you stay there too long, you blow up. Not a bad idea, but the game should have waited a couple years before the SNES stabilized its Mode 7 capabilities further before making it, because it's very basic of a game, and it could have done so much better if they tried harder. Go ahead and make fun of me. Let me explain. So I was taking my drag off with the cig. When I was a kid, I seen this game at EGM, and it looked like a fantastic fucking game. It really did. I mean, the graphics, the FMV and everything, and it looked like a 3D fighter. Well, I never got a chance to play it. And I heard it got bad ratings, and, I don't go with ratings. Never. I go by either personal opinion, or I try the game out before I make an assumption with the game. Well, when I first played this, I was disappointed it wasn't 3D, and I was disappointed that the FMV was extremely slow compared to the Genesis version. The gameplay, to me, wasn't as bad as people were making it, because they were trying something new. It wasn't a Street Fighter clone, but the fighting system is what broke it. And the sequel is even worse. You have some shitty music by Brian May, the drummer of Queen, and the game itself was just unbelievably bad. Now, I should show the first game before I show off its sequel, but I'll go ahead and show you this one first. Final Fight 3. The best one in the series, without a doubt. The first one in the SNES would have been good if it had the two-player option and the ability to play Guy. But this game, you can play it not only as Guy, but you can play as 4 characters, and it's 2 players. Not only that, there's an auto 2-play option where you can play with the computer. So you don't have to play alone if you don't have anyone to play retro games with you, which is my problem. No one has respect for retro games. They'd rather be sucking on Call of Duty's dick or Halo's cock, which is fucking boring. Run around, headshot. Bore fucking me.